They're still trolling and still they're like, many articles, ye dekhiye, ye hain actresses jo shaadi ke pehle pregnant ho gaye. So, things like that, where choices are not hurting anyone. So then, there's no harm in doing what you want, what you please. I'm in full agreement that nobody should be the ones telling us when we should hit the gym and where we should feed our children and what we should be doing, because we're not offending anybody here. Let the mum find her own pace, let her heal the way she wants. When we went and broke the news to my parents were like, okay, this is great, but you have 72 hours before we turn this around and let's get married. So I was given 2.5 days. Telling you, it would have been hilarious. You should have seen Angad. Finally, he's like, are you coming? Then I'm like, yeah, I'm just here. I'm reaching. He's like, I've reached. And Angad's dad and, very respected man. Yeah. He's reached, guests have reached. Finally, he's like, are you coming? I'm like, yeah. Then he's finally called my mom, who's like, he's like, she's coming or she's doing a no-show. There's postpartum depression, which is.
Did you go through it?
Yeah, a lot. And for about 8 odd months, and you don't know why you're reacting like that because you're seeing your body go through changes.
Hello everyone, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Speak Easy. This is a Mother's Day special and I'm with a very special mother. There are so many things that she does amazingly and mother is just among them. Owns who she is. She's of course somebody who always empowers other women. I'm talking about the beautiful Neha Dhupia. Hello.
Hi, what a nice introduction. I feel like we should just end the show.
That is true.
Because after this, I don't know, I have a feeling we'll be going south with the questions you ask me and me giving all sort of scandalous answers. But it's a Mother's Day special and I'm going to say nothing but the truth.
No, it's fine. You truly empower other mothers as well. I was talking to Dia and Dia said that, our friend Neha, she's she's somebody who's seen me through it and she's been there. So I know that there are so many people who say that about you. And
that's very sweet. But as a day for me, it's like it's funny how when fellow actors or your contemporaries end up becoming mothers, I feel like the conversations you have are so much more in sync. Just when you thought that, before becoming mums, the conversations we spoke about is, your projects or, what's your next red carpet look? And we would discuss multiple things that seem, compared to having children, not that we don't take that seriously anymore, but compared to having children, it just seems so much more easier to deal with now, because those were real problems in my 30s as to what should I wear next or what's my next project. But now it's about children, and as far as Dia is concerned as well, we've seen each other through really a lot, and I feel like it's not just about your child going through something or, us going through a place where, hey, there's a lockdown and these are serious issues you discuss. But on an everyday basis, I just feel like I have reached out to moms or anybody who announces their pregnancies or anything. 2 months later when they have their babies, I'm always direct messaging them, asking them how they're feeling, what's going on. Because I feel like there's everybody there to hug the baby, but who hugs the mom? So you need to be there for a fellow mother. It's very, very important.
Pretty much why I started this conversation with. It's so important to have that person. I know in the beginning it's even more difficult, right? But I would want to go there. I know that it's a beautiful process and I've heard mothers, my mother keeps telling that, that there is no sleep involved, how there is absolute exhaustion that can take over and how you have to brave your way through all of that and remember that you have to nurture somebody else. So I think the difficult parts is what I want to talk about.
So I'll just lay it out for you, and I just want to tell you that, so when we were talking about setting examples or putting out examples of our own parents, if I become half the mother that my mom is, I feel like there's victory there for me. It's like she's raised the standard and set a really high standard for me as well as a mom. Now coming to
You.
me, I feel that, I mean, I've had two children in what I would like to believe in pretty much quick succession.
Yeah.
And one is and the age difference, I've had like two under three. So the age difference is 2 years and some months. And the first time around, I spoke excessively about the fourth trimester, which was very hard for me. And maybe because I was experiencing it for the first time, and most definitely because I was experiencing it for the first time. I also started this community which was around breastfeeding called Freedom to Feed. But we also spoke about multiple things, and I was amazed to see that the maximum conversation on that community would happen like 1 a.m. to like say 5 or 6 a.m. Because that's when mums were awake and feeding or having time off from their kids. And I just feel that it never ends. And I'm no disrespect to that at all.
Sure.
But do I believe in helicopter parenting? Not at all. No disrespect to the fact that there are parents who believe that grades are what define your child, and we don't put any sort of pressure on our child and children, because now one's obviously going to school and the other one is he's kind of just started doing parent toddler, and it's not that and there is a lot of like fluidity in our upbringing. There is a lot of flexibility. If there is a day that our child doesn't want to eat a certain kind of food, then you're like, fine, don't force. We don't believe in forcing our kids into anything. But at the same time, when Angad and I were when we got to know that we're going to have a child, we both sat down and had this conversation, and we were like, what is it that we want out of our child? And I was raised with a really, really intense value system, and it was about respect until today. Like literally the only time my dad and mom and me have conversations where we sit and talk, we point out that, hey, this was not respectful or this was disrespectful. It's never about success or failure, because that doesn't define you. So, helicopter parenting or like parents with too much opinion or, comparison to other kids, I just feel like it's all a part of like, it's like you're signing a deal with the devil. So as parents, we don't want to do that. It's so important, Rudrani. There's just so much emphasis on aisa karo, waisa karo, ye karo, wo karo. But there's such little emphasis on how fast they grow. Enjoy everything. I'm just holding on to everything I can. And I'm making no bones about it.
Yeah.
I've lost friends on the way. People don't understand my absence from a lot of places. But, we've produced two little humans who we are enjoying and who we are responsible for the rest of our lives. And I'm unapologetically doing it. So I don't see anything wrong in it.
People are constantly telling you that it's okay, this is how it's going to be, right? But eventually you do try to understand how it affects your mental health and that exhaustion and that everything. How did you kind of find that balance in?
No, the first time around was hard. I still remember I went back to work like on day 8 or something after giving birth, and I felt like may have jumped in a little soon, but then I went back onto a shoot. I remember on day 41 I took my baby, because of 40 days they have to keep the baby home, and then and that was pre-COVID, and then we went for roadies. There's so many unreal expectations out of a new mom. Like no matter where you go, whether it's out in the public or whether you put up pictures on social media or whether you meet people in person, everybody has either an opinion about you as a parent, or people have an opinion about your weight. So that's another thing that you're dealing with. Then you're anyway sleepless, and I'm just like, what about it? Like, isn't this supposed to, the first time around, I'm like, isn't this supposed to be like where you hear like lullabies and you have mood lighting and you stare at a cute little baby? Isn't that what motherhood is all about? But that's when the bubble bursts. The second time around, of course, I mean, I was ahead of the curve when it came to like the 4th trimester, and I was like, I'm going to fight this and I'm going to do it well. And, again, talking, having valid conversations, get some sleep, investing in people who invest in me. And of course, there's postpartum depression, which is
Did you go through it?
Yeah, a lot. And for about 8 odd months, and you don't know why you're reacting like that because you're seeing your body go through changes. But, I feel like I'm taking this path where I'm talking about a lot of things that are not right about it, but I want to actually switch gears here and tell you how beautiful it is.
Yeah, of course.
And it's just all, I mean, you put all of that aside, and then, literally you see two pieces of your heart beating outside of your body. Not even worth it. I just feel like none of that matters. Like, none of that matters. We all go through it. I feel like if you vocalize it and you talk about it, it's this space and time where everybody talks about it. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's too beautiful. And I feel like words fall short as to how good you feel. My kids have taught me how to be patient. They've taught me how to manage time well. They've taught me how to make correct choices, because I don't see myself going to work for a lot of things because I'm just like, hey, this may not be appropriate enough for me to invest time in, because what I have at home is way more nourishing than what's inviting me out there.
Yeah. I think that was such a beautiful moment that you all put out when you first got married, and I just want to show how amazing she looks. I put out a better picture for you all as well.
Oh my God.
This, right?
It's 5 years tomorrow to this.
It is 5 years tomorrow of Neha Dhupia looking this gorgeous in the most simple, quiet way of getting it done. And I just think that's the most gorgeous jewelry. I will talk about the look because I always thought I should bring it up one day with Neha. There is so much simplicity in what you did, and then you went with that jewelry. So I want to know why, it is important, that moment, right? I want to know why you went this way. And of course, it's a start to so much, like to the woman I see in front of me. Let's talk about that.
So I'll tell you what, as a person, I'm the kind of person who'll decide on one thing, and then I'll spend 4 months figuring out ye kare, wo kare, ye kare, wo kare. Okay, I'll go back to that. My mother,
first choice that you had.
Yeah, we also had a non-linear wedding, so we were pregnant before we got married. So when we went and broke the news to my parents were like, okay, this is great, but you have 72 hours before we turn this around and let's get married. So I was given 2.5 days to then go back to Bombay, and I was like,
put this gorgeous outfit. I want to like 72 hours. Don't tell me you pulled this off in 72 hours.
Well, I'm telling you,
really.
Yeah, we can't turn the cameras because it's all a mess. But my mother's here, my team is here. They were all witnesses for as far as that was concerned. But literally, we went and if I was given even 72 weeks, I would have still done. Like, I wanted to do a baby pink lehenga, and I wanted to do this jewelry. And the Gajra, of course, was a very funny story. Can I tell them the Gajra ka story, Mama?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Gajra is a really funny story for my wedding because it was a shotgun wedding. So one night before the mehendi was going on, the Gajras, my mom had like decorated this little club area, like so a mess cute. And all in a room. So they were all on the wall. Next morning when I'm getting ready, and I'm like, oh my God, Gajra nahi hai. So my mom was like, you're so late. Wo already pahunch gaye hain wahan pe. Angad has already reached. I was fast asleep. Nobody knows this about my wedding. But I was fast asleep and I saw the alarm. And I was like, oh my God. But in your first trimester, anyway, your melatonin is very high.
Exactly.
You can't blame me. So then
you must have been very exhausted.
I was very tired, but I didn't wake up. And then suddenly I'm like, Gajra nahi hai. So she's like, ye kal raat ko ye pardo pe to lagaya tha, tum ye laga lo. So then I quickly put this Gajra on my hair. Halfway through the feras, I'm like looking at the photographs, they're turning little black because they were from one night before. So I'm just saying, we went through, there's always madness.
Chaos.
I wish I had done a BTS for this wedding.
You should have.
Because I'm telling you, it would have been hilarious. You should have seen Angad. Finally, he's like, are you coming? Then I'm like, yeah, I'm just here. I'm reaching. He's like, I've reached. And Angad's dad and, very respected man. Yeah. He's reached, guests have reached. Finally, he's like, are you coming? I'm like, yeah. Then he's finally called my mom, who's like, he's like, she's coming or she's doing a no-show. Tell me fast. Is she going alright?
Has she changed her mind? He must have been so scared.
So, no, I don't know if he was scared, but I mean, ask him 5 years later. He had enough time. I gave him 2.5 hours extra to change his mind, but he didn't. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and it happened just like that. Like, and boom, we were married, and then we looked at each other, and then the same evening, I had to go the next day to, I think, Houston or something for some work. We we were on a flight and we were very tired, we passed out, woke up 17 hours later, on the other side of the Atlantic. And
then you posted pictures before that. So then
posted pictures before that.
And then everybody's like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah,
And
actually
your
that.
phone, did your phone like crashes? I want to know.
No, I still remember Radhika, who's
your publicist.
Yes, my friend and my publicist, she's sitting in the car. As soon they were like dolly, and I'm like, what sort of a dolly is this? So there's Angad, there's Radhika who's sitting with a laptop and that pen drive, and just like, what are we doing? Is this a heist happening? What's going on? She's like, no, this is your dolly. So it's my brother-in-law who was driving, and she's like, can you go closer to this hotel because the Wi-Fi I'm catching here? I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm uploading a picture. So then she's like, are you ready? Because we're going to tell everybody you've been married. So I'm like, yeah. And as soon as we press send, the wisest thing she did was she like, give me your phone, put it on airplane mode.
Yeah.
And
smart.
There were people who have called to check whether she's like, they were like, this is an ad, right? You've shot for an ad.
Really?
I'm like, no.
Really?
Because see, the thing is that it was so quick that, and then we had that, and then.
I mean, of course, I think Angad's looking very nice, and I love that it's so, like, he went for the brighter pink and you went for that. And then this. I love the choice of jewelry and everything. I want to talk about that. I felt like this is...
I want to talk about this one group chat. I wish I could show you images of what Angad wanted to wear.
Oh, I'm sure
like,
you stepped in, didn't you?
He's like, 10th of May, if you're getting married in the middle of May, I'm just going to wear a white linen shirt and jeans and show up. I'm just like, we had to force him one night before saying, please, can you be a little more formal? He's like, why? So I had to explain to him. So then I told him, I said, please wear a pink pug because of this.
But very cute. I think that really added that whole thing. So well done, Neha.
And yeah, he looks lovely.
He looks lovely.
Yeah. So this was the jewelry I wanted to wear. And I always wanted to, like, I was going through a phase where I loved chokers. So I just thought that let's do what I love. Our wedding rings were really interesting. I'm not wearing it right now because I've kept it in a safe place. But we had these wedding bands, and obviously in that much time we didn't have too much time to buy wedding rings. And I said I'll buy one later. And my mother-in-law went to her locker and then she got out the wedding bands that my father-in-law and when he was in London when they decided he was playing a match, and I think he went or she went with Sunil Gavaskar and they went and bought these little gold bands, and that's when they exchanged those bands and they got married, and then we got the same bands and then we wore those. So I think I'm wearing that in the photo, but my hand is down so you can't see it.
How lovely.
Yeah, so it's
but it turned out fine.
It turned out great.
Our world took a step in normalizing the fact that two people are in love and they've gotten married. The entire thing about the fact that you were pregnant before and all of that, kind of, you normalize that, and I feel ever so important. Today we are in a society where, we are moving forward, right? And I feel like it was...
I mean, there was a lot of
But not from the people.
No, not from the people we know, of course.
Exactly.
There was love and there was respect and they were feeling happy for us, but there was a lot of they're still trolling and still there are many articles, ye dekhiye, ye hain actresses jo shaadi ke pehle pregnant ho gaye. So, things like that, where choices are not hurting anyone. So then, there's no harm in doing what you want, what you please, and look at where it got us, and
So look at where this happy family is right now, 5 years ago.
Knock on wood. My mom, I think, took charge.
Hai
Yeah, because there was a point where I was trying to confuse everybody, and my mom was like, just do me a favor, just go away from Delhi for 2 days, come back on your wedding day. So I was sent away for 3 days back to Bombay because I had some patchwork of some film going on. I remember I was shooting for Ela that time, and I went back and I came back and I went back, I think, end May, and Kajal was like, weren't you shooting with me? Weren't you supposed to tell me these things? And I'm like, yeah.
Karan se leke everybody.
Karan, of course.
Karan knew.
Yeah.
He played along.
Yeah, played Cupid, and he does that well. But I actually wanted to go back to women and the choices they're making. It's so great right now.
But you spoke about your mother and the impact that she has on the way you are today, the way she handled your wedding and everything. I know that she is amazing as a person, and I wanted to learn that she's right here in the room, and I've already told her that, right?
Everybody falls on their face. everybody falls flat. Everybody has, ups and downs in their life. But to be able to, like, I know there are many times that I've also reached out to my mom saying, okay, she's like, ho jayega, jaan hai, jahan hai. Like, just keep going ahead, keep moving on, keep, believing in yourself. And she also comes from a place where I have seen her being a homemaker, and I've seen her being somebody who's gone to work and balanced, life. Like, when I'm working, then even a simple thing like, खाने में क्या बनाना है, उसके लिए ये क्या करना है, उसके लिए वो क्या करना है, यहाँ पे अभी फोन आ गया, यहाँ ये क्या, I find that an added checklist. So I'm working on that, but I don't understand how
effortlessly
those moms or that generation could just do it, like, they done that extra kind of degree in running a home, and I don't know how they do it, but I just feel like the job of a homemaker is so hard, and that's why I feel like it's just in no place have you seen anyone put value to it, because if you did, it would run into millions, or more, or being priceless.
You mentioned planning of food, right? And that's my next question. I'm like, when you go for shooting, one thing that I really like miss is ghar ka dal chawal, right? There is nothing that beats that. Have you, I'm sure that she makes those amazing dishes as well, and all of that. So I want to know, how important is ghar ka dal chawal for you?
Listen, it's very important, and you won't believe it. My husband, me, children, everybody, we all have our schedules, we all go out, and we all carry our dabbas and go. None of us like junk food. So we are the kind of person, we are that kind of like, and we used to do this earlier. We used to live in Kerala, in Cochin. My dad was in the Navy, और हम दिल्ली जाते थे छुट्टियां मनाने. तो वहाँ पे हम 2.5 दिन की ट्रेन जर्नी होती थी, तो हम डब्बे लेके जाते थे. Now there are times when we fly to like Maldives and stuff, or we take the shorter flights, and all of us are like, we don't like airline food, we don't want to eat junk food. We all take our little tiffins and we open it on a flight and eat. Not because of anything else. We genuinely love home food. So like anything like rolls or wraps, or my son to, like, he loves, my daughter loves dal chawal, and her most favorite thing is dal chawal.
I have a feeling you also like dal chawal.
I love bland food. I don't like any mirchi. I don't like anything. So yeah, I mean, we all just thrive on like eating home food, which is really basic.
But on that note, you mentioned that your children also, which is why I wanted to ask, right? It is like a thing. You said that she loves dal chawal. There is that little pleasure in sitting with your child and seeing her eat the things that you also made, right? The simple ones.
I'm actually a really bad cook.
Dal chawal to theek hai.
No. Yeah, so for me,
okay.
like between Angad and me, I think the skill set in the kitchen definitely goes to him.
Angad, can he make like full biryani and
all
of that?
Angad is just the best cook.
Like biryani level good?
Like there were times I was like this close to saying, okay, this is the man I want to be with for the rest of my life. And I think we went somewhere, I can't remember. And he's like, show me your cup of tea. I'm like, okay, fine. And I love chai, like good chai. And he made chai. I was like, this is the man I want to spend the rest of my life with. Because he was so good. Then came his scrambled eggs, and then came like his full-on food and all the... So between my mum and Angad, it's a close call. I mean, right now my mum's leading with like, I think about 8 million points. But I would have to say that close second is definitely... It's like anything he touches, as far as cooking is concerned, turns to gold. And anything I touch as far as cooking is concerned, I don't know how it turns to dust. Angad's been, looking after his diet and okay. Posting, what is that?
Thirst trap.
I'll let you say it.
Thirst trap.
Yeah, not me. Huh?
Yeah.
No, but I would. Like,
and what's your favorite kind of cheat meal in that?
Breakfast. Like indulgent breakfast 3 times a day.
And what about the person who's been posting thirst trap? What do you think he would have gone for?
Right now, just DMs on Instagram. No, I'm kidding. No. Right now, I mean, he's all about lean protein.
Neha just say, watching you.
Yeah. That's only for Angad, nobody else.
The kind of judgments that they face when you're going through pregnancy. I was talking to Ravina, and she had, I remember, written an open letter during when Aishwarya was trolled for the fact that she's gained weight and all of that during her pregnancy, and she said that everybody around you just needs to stop. Neha goes through a lot of that because she's a woman who speaks her mind. And in social media, you will inherently get trolled if you like to speak the truth sometimes. So, but you did handle it like a boss, but I know it's not easy, So I want to talk about that.
It's not easy for sure. It comes with practice and being thick-skinned. But I'm in full agreement that nobody should be the ones telling us when we should hit the gym and where we should feed our children and what we should be doing, because we're not offending anybody here. Let the mum find her own pace. Let her heal the way she wants. Let her bounce back. I mean, as much as you miss the older version of your favorite actress, probably she's also missing it, but let her be, but let her enjoy her time. She's done what she had to, she's doing what she's meant to, and she will continue to do what she wants to. So just give her and give us all a little bit of breathing space.
It reminds me of what Alia had to point out, right? Like when she was said that, oh, she's got married, now she's gonna have a kid, will she do movies? And she actually called that out.
We've kind of A, we don't have anything to prove. B, if one of us has done it, I'm hoping that it's opened up for everybody else to do it.
Yeah.
And today, mums who are actresses and actresses who are mums are all working. So it shouldn't we shouldn't be cancelling each other out. We can't become a part of, oh, it should be an either or. And it shouldn't be that. And also nothing changes when it comes to the dads.
Yeah.
But it's not about that. It's about just making sure that we need to put those conversations on a down low, respect the woman for coming to work, and
so true.
And always do that, because leaving your child at home is anyway hard as it is. And
the
then
separation anxiety is like peak, but there is so much pressure on the fact that when you're a celebrity as well and your kids, right, are there, and the kind of pressure and the kind of attention that your kids get, whether it's online, whether it's later, whether they're followed to play school, and what started with Temur, but also a lot of people made them realize that we want to draw boundaries somewhere. And how do you look at that? Because, I feel like even there you found a solution. I'm sure you've had that conversation with Angad, because, what is more for you, what is less for you, is something that only you guys get to decide, right?
So, I have nothing against parents whose kids are out there in the limelight.
Sure.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
It's super relaxed, and it's how it is. It's life. And that's what parents are doing, and that's what the children are also seeing their parents do. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It comes from a place of being comfortable, confident, all of that. We, on the other hand, just have been able to consciously protect our kids from the limelight. Once in a while they do crop up, but more often than not. And I feel like my daughter's in that phase where she's beginning to ask,
What did she ask?
why does everybody want a photo with you? Or we were coming on, one day we were in Goa and we were at the beach, and they're like, why do you want a photo with my mama? So these are conversations that she started to ask, and if and when she does, and if and when she's comfortable, she can be a part of that photograph. But the fact is that now she started to ask that, and I want to leave it to her, because they're going to be thinking individuals. They'll have to figure it out. Maybe later on they may question saying, why don't you put us in the limelight? Or maybe later on they'll ask questions and why did you? So either or. But as of now, I just feel like I want to protect them as much as I can. And I feel like give them a sense of normalcy, and because that's how we were raised. So trying to keep it close.
And I think you're doing a fairly good job.
And I also think the media is very helpful and nice. And that's something I want to bring up over here. Because when you tell them that, hey, we're here for you.
Yeah.
But if you could just make sure the kids are sent on the side, and then somebody takes them and then we get photographed, they give a lot of space. So, hats off to them as well.
Yeah, I think paparazzi, when you tell them, Indian media really respects you if you tell them nicely in that way. Which is, I think, nice to be in that place also. End this, I would like you to tell me a few mothers in the industry that you take inspiration from with the way they are, and of course a Mother's Day message to everybody who's watching.
Yeah, of course. Mothers in the industry, I think everyone, because every mother comes with their own interpretation of raising a child, and each one is doing a great job. And
you were mentioned by Dia, I want to let you know that.
Of course, there's Dia, there's Karina. I love how she kind of, she balances
everything
out. There's Soha, there's God, I don't want to miss out on anyone. There's, toe the mind kind of thing. And of course, there are many others. But for me, I just want to tell everybody, I mean, as far as my Mother's Day message is concerned, I don't want to state a cliche here. I just want to say that, we should be celebrating mothers every day, because I feel like every day is an uphill climb. Every day they're trying to find that right and find balance. Every day there's a major or minor sacrifice that they make to raise their children. And, sometimes when it's about life choices, there's always put right at the end of the list. But I think those are not the reasons. The number of hours that they put in beyond work hours, the amount of time they invest, and most importantly, the fact that their whole heart belongs to their children. It's just, one day is not enough. And I feel like we're here celebrating all of you every day.
As always, thank you for being so eloquent and putting that so beautifully. And thank you for helping us celebrate mothers today, as usual. You're a wonderful mother.
Yes.
And every day. Like you rightly put, happy Mother's Day to you once again.
Thank you very much, and happy Mother's Day to every mom who's watching.
Thank you so much, Neha.